smart shoppers everywhere take time out to pause and refresh. And where else but in the fountain where they serve ice-cold Coca-Cola?
All right, guys, coming at you from the eMilitia HQ with episode, what is this, 4?
5.
5.
Episode 5.
You were pretty hammered for 4, so it's okay.
And 5 from the looks of it.
What? Don't start over. Run this shit. Let's go.
It's good.
No. Either way, I'm starting the fuck over. What's up, guys? Coming at you from the eMilitia HQ with episode 5. And today we're going to be talking about censorship. So basically, the First Amendment, and so how the government is bastardizing that, and also how the media is doing that, and our takes on both of those separately or together. So we're going to introduce who's with us, starting at the top with Anglo.
Yeah, I don't know how we're going to do these intros anymore. It's just stating our names and what
Pretty
we're
much.
about. But you know me. I've changed my bio recently on Instagram to, what did I call myself? Like the resident economics nerd of the eMilitia. So that's me. That's all you need to know.
A little self-aggrandizing, but okay.
It's bootlickers beware. Same shit as always. I don't know. I think I catch a fair amount of censorship given the topics that I post, and looking forward to contributing on the topic.
Dope. Well, this is Guns and Guillotines, aka Guns or G&G, whatever you want. And well, as you probably know, I advocate for pure anarchy, which means I don't agree with any conditions on anything that people want to say. So we'll obviously delve a lot deeper into what this means, but on to Hangham's introduction, who the fuck he is.
I'm Hanging for Freedom. Not much changed since the last podcast. Still believe in anarchy. That's about it.
Dope.
Good shit.
Pretty easy. All right.
Short and sweet.
Obviously, this is a growing issue, especially in our main platform being Instagram, because we're constantly seeing evidence of. I think Instagram can be considered like mainstream media. I mean, it's a huge media platform. It's a huge social media platform, and it's blatant how much they censor certain kinds of pages, and not only Instagram but also Facebook and Twitter and anybody else. I mean, what was it? Was it InfoWars that was banned from like all platforms? Yeah.
Yes.
Among many others.
Yeah, and like and now they're talking about banning any content that talks about InfoWars unless it's obviously like in a damning sense, which is a bit extreme. And it's not that we agree with everything that InfoWars says. I want to make that clear. Like that's not what it's about for us. It's not about like.
But we agree with their right to be able to say it.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So it's not at all about like we believe in what InfoWars is saying. So
We believe in free speech. That's the end of.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what you're saying. We think it should be able to be said. But so obviously we're going to be upset anytime that anybody is banned from voicing their opinions. And I mean, it's not just that. It's like a Gramps, aka Bootlickers Beware. We call Gramps if you don't know that already. He's experienced more personal censorship on our main platform, Instagram, than probably like any of us. So I mean, if you want to touch on that a little bit, that'd probably be pretty cool.
I mean, basically, I've been dealing with tons of things on Instagram, just basically from shadow bans or whatever you call them, to having like hashtags that I've created more or less be scrubbed from the search or explorer, or outright like banned in general, or sometimes, to a point where the hashtag that I use, if like if someone hits the explore button, it'll only show reposts or posts from my followers. It won't show my original post that has obviously that much more activity than anybody else's. I don't know. I guess just the censorship that goes on there is very obvious. Right down to the amount of likes that we're allowed to use and how many comments we're allowed to have in a certain thread before we're shut off on our likes or our comments for the day. It's just getting really ridiculous, But it's also something that like I personally struggle with, just from like a consistency standpoint. And I mean, my opinion on the subject it isn't maybe the most popular, but at the same time, you guys are all pretty rational and recognize that we don't own Instagram, we don't own YouTube, we don't own these entities, and ultimately, it's really difficult for you to be able to say that what's happening is our true freedom of speech violations. It's more like a suppression. We can still have our opinions and share our opinions. We just might not have as loud of a platform or large of a platform to stand from and shout them. But I mean, we all, like I said, we all kind of recognize that each individual business owner should be able to have the right to deny service or businesses to anyone for any reason that they see fit, and I guess we kind of fall into that category, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's pretty split, like within the Libertarian Party. Like,
I agree with that 100%. And
we
when
don't really affiliate with like Big L libertarianism. I mean, at least I don't, because I think any political party is subject to a lot of bullshit. But like, I know Gary Johnson didn't believe the right to refuse service because he thought that like it went against social liberties and things like that, social freedoms.
Mm.
But like, I think he's just fucking confused.
Yeah, I think a lot of libertarians are just like, I mean, at one point in time, I had identified as a libertarian, and it's just, if you get really consistent about it and you really get down to brass tacks, like if you really support freedom, you're an anarchist. And it's hard to get around that. But
yeah, it's just no going back.
Yeah, I think once you realize, like, start to see like the slight nuances and hypocrisy like that's prevalent within the libertarian community, it's pretty easy to say, not that they're all bad, and not that I want to paint them with like the same brush, because we all believe in liberty. It's just maybe some of us believe in more pacified version, and some of us actually want the whole kielbasa.
Yeah.
Well,
and of course, censorship ties into that completely.
I don't know how I went off on that. Sorry.
I think the important thing to note in terms of state versus like private censorship is exactly that. When you believe in freedom of speech, like Bootlickers was saying, if anyone owns a platform, they do have the right to decide what sort of content is on there. That's their discretion, and if you want to use the platform or not, again, that's your choice based on it. And hopefully they'd make good business practices, because that means good business. But and that relates entirely to property rights. It's like how the First Amendment only protects against you from oppression of speech or like arrest of speech by the state, something that is incredibly prevalent in my country nowadays. But the point is, a private entity can't take legal action against you for the things you say. They can only just kick you off it. And it's not to say that we would just accept any sort of censorship because it's done privately. We'd obviously voice our grievance about it and not be okay with it, but that doesn't mean that they have the right to do what they want with their property. So ultimately it's their decision. We can just kick and scream about it as much as we like, because that's what you can do as a customer. Voice your opinion on how the product you're using is used and whether you like it or not. I just think that's a point that often needs to be clarified.
It's unfortunate there's not enough of us that I guess to where even if every libertarian, every anarchist, every ANCAP, ANCOM, if we all left the platform completely, they wouldn't even notice.
Yeah.
And I guess just I talked to Whiskey about this a long time ago. Like it's kind of sad that within our own community we haven't been able to facilitate some type of platform. I'm sure that there's plenty of guys that are techie and have the ability and see like a void in the market for a platform where you're not going to have to deal with this kind of stuff. If that existed, I'm sure we would all make the migration. I guess just how do you monetize that, and is it necessary to monetize that? And I guess just the market should be showing that there's a void.
Well, it kind of is.
Well, I think part of the problem is that we're not leaving these big markets because as anarchists we all have our own page because we're trying to spread knowledge. Mm-hmm. So if we started a platform that was all anarchists and libertarians and just freedom-minded people, then we wouldn't have that giant platform to spread our word.
Yeah, most people don't give a fuck about what we're talking about. Like most people would make the migration.
We just piss people off.
But we're all still here, aren't we? Yeah. And we're all doing this, not, like we all want to teach new people. And if we were on our own platform, we wouldn't have that ability. The problem is that when we do have our freedom of speech, they try to censor it. And they're stopping it. And I understand in a private platform that I'm an anarchist. You can do whatever you want. If it's your company, you can stop whatever you want. Someone else pick up.
Well, I was just going to say, in terms of the market facilitating it, I've heard a lot about a new app called Minds. I don't know anything else about it. I think it's kind of more like Reddit than Instagram, but the point is that it's for actual discussion and debates and things like that. But of course, that would have such a smaller audience than Instagram, where you can put hashtag thin blue line in all your posts and you can get all these angry people to comment, which then boosts your algorithm and more people see the shit. It's an entirely different system, and maybe it just needs getting used to, and it needs a building of an audience. But that's what we have right now, and it's the most we can make do with.
Yeah, and also it's just so different.
Yeah, it is.
That kind of ties into what Hingham was saying. Where like it's Instagram and Facebook and these other platforms are ones where we can reach just massive audiences.
Yeah.
Whether
we're being humble about our impressions or not. I mean, collectively, we reach a shitload of people, guys. Like, I mean, how many impressions are you guys getting in your insights?
30,000.
Oh, dude. I mean, okay, on a good week or like a week. I mean, I see weeks where I'm seeing 123.
Yeah, like my bests are like up there, but like on average, when I'm not like experiencing a shadow ban, my like normal posts are usually about 30,000.
Yeah, I guess just like if you multiply that by us collectively, that's a lot of people every day. Day in and day out. And like we don't get that exposure level over on Minds. I've been over there. I started one over there, and it's just discouraging to know that when I take the same amount of time that it takes me to make a post over there as it does on Instagram, that I'm essentially exposing, just a very, very, very small fraction of the people to the ideas that I'm trying to share.
Yeah, and nobody's seeing it.
Yeah.
Basically. It's also not just like the fact that most people don't care about a migration because they don't care about the kind of content that would be censored. And also, I'd like to make it clear, the censorship shit is real. Like, shadow bans are fucking real, dude. Because I went from I had an explosion of like 200 plus followers a day, like additional followers a day, and then all of a sudden that grinded to a screeching halt, and it was like 10 or like 15 for weeks.
Yeah, I'm going
And
through
there's
my
no
first...
way that that's
Well,
there's
I
no
couldn't
way that
even
that's all
post
just chance.
hashtags. Any
There's no-
hashtag I posted would not show up if you search for
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
No,
That's the
and that's a
definitive
good way to
way
know.
know.
It's a good way to know if you're shadow banned is like
Yeah, that's how
post
you
weird
test.
hashtags and look them up, and if your posts aren't there, that means you know that like Instagram is not allowing
And
your
then
content to reach the audiences that it would normally reach.
the
Yeah.
second I got unshadow banned, they all showed up. Everything that I put, you could go and search every one of them, and they popped up. It might be like really far down there.
Yeah, I don't know how to
I
break
had
out of a shadow ban. Like I don't know if
I had
I don't know how
a hashtag that I
that's-
use. Officer Pedo is a hashtag that I use for like all the like all the cops that get caught like molesting kids or fucking around with like
It's just
15
a few
girls.
bad apples, Gramps.
And like if you try to search that hashtag, like sure there's a couple like posts of like some like Pedro or something from Napoleon Dynamite next to a Honda Civic, and it's like I have literally hundreds of posts that are Officer Pedo that are just talking about some fucking skeevy little pedophile cop that can't keep his hands off some kid. And it's just like that's how you know you're shadow banned when nobody else is going to be using that tag you hundreds of times, and it's not there when you look it on your device, on somebody else's device. If that's not shadow banning, what is it?
Yeah, it's real because like I know it's like a conspiracy theory kind of, and it's like, well, maybe your page is just shit, and that's why that's why you're not getting clicks. But not only does that like statistically not make sense, but also there's hard evidence in the fact that if you look up the hashtags that you posted, you can't fucking find them. So it's real. It is hashtag real. And like
I've used accounts
unavoidable.
that weren't mine, that were linked nothing to mine, just to see if my stuff was getting posted on hashtags, and it's not. It's just straight up like I logged onto someone else's account. And I'm like, hey dude, let me use your search real quick, and then my posts were not showing up. And then all of a sudden one day they do. No one tells you nothing. Right now, like I just did a 24-hour where I wasn't allowed to like anything, which doesn't even make sense. Like I can comment on stuff, I can post stuff. I just wasn't allowed to like anything because obviously I abused the like part of it.
I know. I don't know how they
you
figured
like
that
too
one.
much stuff. You're not allowed to have that much positivity out there. It's against the rules.
Yeah, it's extremely frustrating, honestly, because like I was still making so much content. Like I try to make multiple posts a day, and it's just like you see your posts before you got shadow banned and like how they and like kind of like the insights that you got on that, the impressions that you got on that. Like you're still putting that much effort into it. You're still putting like hours of your day into this. You're constantly updating and checking it and trying to add things to it and like respond to people's comments and respond to people's questions and everything like this. And you're getting a fraction of the output that you did. So it's extremely effective on Instagram's part, and just like Gramps was saying, like it's their platform. So just like if we made a platform and Gramps was posting shit about cops, and I loved cops because I'm a fucking idiot, and I didn't like what he was saying, as the owner, I should be able to censor him, but that doesn't mean that what I was doing wouldn't be shitty.
Yeah.
Because like silencing anybody's opinions is really shitty, especially in a country that is founded. Literally, the first principle of this country is the freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
Also, denying that you're doing it is super shitty. It'd be another thing if we just said, yeah, hey, you know what? We're going to start censoring the fuck out of this shit. We don't agree with it. This is our platform. Fuck off, little Liberty boys. Move on. But, like, they deny it and they act like it's not a real thing, and there's not an agenda or a motive behind it. And that's that's even less honorable.
That's
like,
basically fucking fraud.
Yeah, and that's the part where you're not allowing the market to make the adjustments. Like if you put that information out there and you, like Facebook, when they started saying like, "Hey, we're selling your data, we're doing all this and that," like the first thing that I did was go shut all my Facebook shit down. And I guess it's still you can get it or whatever, but I guess I just couldn't really continue to support it once it was like public that that's what what the information was being mined for and all this kind of stuff. I guess it's just if you're open about it, it makes it a little, I guess, like makes it the pill a little easier to swallow. But
it's also not bringing it to the forefront.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's
my wife has no idea what a shadow ban is.
Well,
I don't know if my kids know what a shadow ban is. They're not on Instagram or anything, or even Facebook. But like, my wife's like, "Is that a thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, this is like a thing that's happening."
Yeah, and if more people knew, I guess if they talked about it, like if they told people that, hey, this is not a real world, this is like an altered, this is like an algorithm that we want you to see, then maybe people like would recognize that, but they don't even know because they're not.
Well, no, see, I think people know it's something they want to see, and that's why they're tuning in. But if they knew people's freedom of speech was being squashed
in the process,
maybe that would interest them. Like, I completely understand. They're like, no, that's why I'm on Facebook, because they show me what I want to see. I get that. It's a release, whatever. People got to learn to separate the release from reality. You know, it's nice to have a release in life, but at some point you can't always have relief. So but that's what Facebook is trying to give them, and Instagram's trying to give them, and they're not telling them, hey, you know what? There's certain pages that we don't think you should see. So we're censoring them without telling you we're doing censoring.
Coddling.
But there would be people that would go, hey, that ain't right. They probably wouldn't unsubscribe and they wouldn't boycott, but it would get something going in their head. Hey, what's going on? You're telling me I can't see what I want?
Yeah, or maybe enough people would talk about it to where, like I said, they would recognize that they need to make some adjustments with these policies and like listen to what the market is telling them. But when they're not operating on with all of the information and no one's pissed, then we're kind of fucked. Like
yeah, when the minority's pissed, we are fucked.
Yeah, it's also important to remember that the algorithm of Instagram is self-censoring, so it's important to remember, because like a lot of people I think maybe don't know this. If you have a content creator that you follow and you like the stuff that they post, it's important to interact with that content. Like it's important to comment on it and like it, because you can follow thousands of people, and depending on like how many times the people that you follow post a day, you probably will end up not seeing every post made that day. So, like if you're following Gramps and you also follow 1,000 other people and they post semi-frequently, and you don't like his post or you don't comment on his posts, then Instagram is going to think that you prioritize that less. So they're just going to nix that, and they're not going to show you that, and they're going to show you something that you interact with more or that other people interact with more.
Definitely true.
On average, you know what I mean? So like Gramps is, you have like 3,800 followers or something like that?
I think I'm like getting close to 45 now.
Oh, 45? Okay, so like 4,500 followers, but you follow some celebrity who has like 100,000 and you don't like either of theirs, they're still going to show you the celebrity with 100,000 followers first, because on average, more people interact with that. So that means you probably would like to see that more than you would like to see his content anyway. So that's why, like, I think it was probably like a year or two ago, a lot of content creators were saying things like, go ahead and like my last 5 posts and leave a couple comments, blah, blah, blah. Like, that wasn't just to boost people's, like, own likes and shit like that. It was to make sure that you saw the shit they were making, like changing their algorithms. And it was pretty feasible that you probably wouldn't see anything that they made if you didn't interact with it.
Yeah, in my opinion, Instagram has been fucked since they changed like the chronological updating. Like that shit.
I agree.
It's so
That's
fucking
unanimous. I literally haven't talked to somebody that doesn't.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, literally everyone has said that. I can't, like, outside of like them being able to break up the information and have further control over what we see. I can't understand why it wouldn't just be a chronological thing. Anybody that I'm following, whoever made an update, I want it in my feed when I hit my update button. Like,
Yeah.
it's just crazy outside of like being able to put in front of and outside of like an element of control in what you're putting in front of my screen. Why else it would operate like that?
Yeah, and it's just for the algorithm's sake, so they can spoon feed you the vapid bullshit of what
Yeah,
your
that's what I'm
celebrity
saying.
had for
That's what I'm saying.
breakfast instead of any actual intelligent conversation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the only explanation for it is the algorithm. Just
because you'll see something that someone posted 2 days ago, and then you scroll down farther, and someone posted something an hour ago.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I much would have rather seen this hour ago post.
That's like because I try to post multiple times a day, like I said, and like sometimes a post will get like 2 comments and 200 likes, and a post that I made because I usually post them in groups, like I post them like within 30 seconds of each other, and another one will get 1,000 likes and like 30 comments.
do you think also like I have a bunch of like buddies that did like glass art and blue glass, and like those guys were doing like auctions and doing a lot of sales.
Oh yeah, I think I followed a couple of those guys.
When that shit went from chronological, it fucked their sales strategy up hard. Like they were able to like hype stuff up. Okay, here's my post. Like here's the auction, and like everyone would see the stuff chronologically. Well, when they switched that shit up, sometimes you would see a post that they made 3 days ago, but it was like a drop it now auction, like that only lasted for 3 hours, and like if you didn't see it, you're fucked.
Yeah,
And
that's fucked.
and it's like not only that, but like not only if you didn't see it, you're fucked as a consumer, but as the artist, if there's that many less people participating in the auction, the art is worth that much less. Like,
Yeah, it's fucking everybody over except the people that run this shit. And
trying to sell advertising.
Yeah, that's completely the reason. And it's not just Instagram either. I mean, like we already mentioned Facebook and everything, but
I think we have a lot of things to talk about censorship besides just Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah,
I mean, look at WikiLeaks.
Yes,
and their founder. I mean, come on. I feel like if we're talking about censorship and we don't bring that up, that's
I was just about to say,
missing the whole point.
if we move from private onto state censorship now, this is where it gets juicy. And of course, you have to start off with WikiLeaks recently, or maybe perhaps the guy who just got arrested in Florida for having that "I eat ass" bumper sticker. It's the same.
Oh
shit.
Yeah,
legal action over speech, and
that's funny. Yeah, I didn't think of that as censorship, but like censorship.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, you should be able to advertise your services to anybody. That kid's gonna pass
on your own property. Yeah,
you eat ass. I eat ass, by the way.
Good for you, man.
Don't censor that out.
No, that's staying in. Trust me.
Okay.
I'm editing this. It's within my right to control the information that goes into it.
This podcast is collective, bruv.
Well, it's not. It's not collectively edited and uploaded, is it? So fuck off.
Anyway, I like before we even talked about this topic being censorship. I watched a mini documentary on the Pentagon's role in war films or any movie that involves like the military, the U.S. military, and it was really interesting. And
what was it called?
I can't remember. I watched it on YouTube, so like the title on YouTube was probably not what it was called. In reality,
I do know what you mean. Though. I've heard this. I've heard the things that go on with that.
Yeah, and like they can't if the script says basically anything that shines a bad light on the U.S. military, the U.S. military will not give them access to the tax-funded things that they should have access to since it's publicly funded.
Yeah, as censorship around the military has got to be the most shining.
Hollywood, when they want to do anything military, like Transformers movies, because they
use that as an example.
The military tells them what they're allowed to say and changes the script to allow them.
It's like an office at the Pentagon that exclusively deals in movies.
The Office of Propagandas.
Propaganda.
The Ministry of Truth.
Dead ass, not far from that. It's honestly something close to that. Like the movie Wind Talkers is probably one of like the most hardcore examples. Not a great movie, but like, you know, like
That's the ones about the translators that like.
Yeah. The Navajo Code Talkers
Okay.
in the Pacific Theater at World War II, and the commanding officer of whatever operation this was saying to Nicolas Cage's character, basically he was telling him, if one of your code talkers gets captured or you see him getting captured, you need to fucking kill him, because like you can't risk the enemy getting access to like this code, you know, because it was basically like, I mean, no, it wasn't basically, it was legitimately a code. So I mean, if they could torture the captive and get it out of them, they would have been fucked. So these orders were legitimate. Like this was historically accurate, except the United States military and the Pentagon didn't want that to be shown in a movie. So they said, you can't do that. So they had to like work the script to where he didn't say, if you see one of your code talkers getting captured, you need to kill him. And instead they said, and it was really like body language based and everything else, but it was like, I think the close to the direct quote was something like, under no circumstance can you allow a code talker to fall into the hands of the enemy. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I mean, it was still implied, but it was just, you know, the connotation versus denotation of it. Like, and because of that little detail, that movie wouldn't have gotten the Pentagon support, and it would have either made the movie not happen because it would be so expensive to rent that equipment firsthand, or it would have been what it is now, which is not as close to historically accurate as it is, just for propaganda purposes, just for censorship purposes.
Taxpayer-funded propaganda services.
Correct.
Well, I think the most obvious evidence that America is an empire is the dealing of whistleblowing, and obviously the big ones: Edward Snowden, Chelsea Manning, and just now Julian Assange. Even though he's been hounded for a decade, has finally been nabbed. The other two have their own obvious stories, but they've done is state facts about U.S. war crimes and amongst other things, and they're somehow criminals. I think it was in Obama's first campaign, he said something like he wanted to guarantee protection for whistleblowers, as they bring you freedom of information. And Edward Snowden happened, and he was chased to fucking Russia.
That was a lie.
Of course it was. And yeah, if you really think that America is fighting for the freedom of the world by bombing Iraq and chasing off whistleblowers who tell you factual information about the things that they do whilst finding your freedoms in a cave in Afghanistan, I really don't know what else to tell you.
The problem is, no one wants to read WikiLeaks. No one goes to WikiLeaks.
It's a good fucking read, man.
It's great. What people do is they listen to CNN or they listen to Fox, and then they let them tell them what's going on with WikiLeaks.
Well, it's
you know what I'm saying? They're like, well, WikiLeaks is bad this week. No, they're good this week.
Yeah.
No, they're bad this week. Oh, no, that dude needs to go to jail. How do you... The reporters are saying that a reporter needs to go to jail for reporting information.
Yeah. Tells you who they really work for.
Very important information.
Well, in your case, it's not even fucking shrouded. They just dead ass work for the state. It's state funded.
Yeah. And people believe that they're unbiased. Literally, when the government is not even trying to pretend that it's paying your payroll, who do you really think is giving you the information that you hear? But that being said, there is so much collusion in the American system with CNN, Fox News, Rupert Murdoch, and that's a whole entirely different kettle of fish there. But again, it's not Just because CNN and Fox News are private companies doesn't mean they're the ones feeding you the information. They are in cahoots with the government because they benefit off each other by brainwashing you and forcing an agenda, and they just move money around each other's pockets.
It works that way, same way in the U.S. It's just.
I mean, that I was saying that is the US.
The paperwork's not there like it is in the UK. In the US, it happens, but like the money's being passed behind the scenes.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I was saying. But like they put it behind the guise of two opposing viewpoints of CNN and Fox News, when the Democrats and Republicans, as we know, are exactly the same. They play it off as if they're totally against each other, but they're all just part of the same.
They use
cycle.
it. They use it. The fight. Oh, they're different
It's
little
the drama.
bit.
It's just tune in to watch fucking Conor McGregor fight this person, but no, it's CNN and Fox News what they're arguing about this week. When they're all just going off for the same agenda and indoctrinating people into believing the same shit, but
annoying,
with different
dude.
colours.
It's honestly like one of the things that pisses me off the most about politics is like how media and this kind of censorship, which like even though they're private companies, they're basically exactly like what's going on with British Broadcasting Company.
Just less honest.
Like, yeah, even more shady.
Yeah.
And like you have like Fox and CNN and MSNBC and just like mainstream media sources painting these pictures, and it's just so stupid. It's like there's only 2 flavors of ice cream in the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that it's inconceivable.
I'm really glad you got that in there. Thanks, man.
I'm glad you got that in there too.
Right?
Can we talk about how like we've all, since Freedom of Information Act has come, like all the things that have come out through that in relation to like CIA Operation Mockingbird. Like we know that the government's been infiltrating the media sources since like the late 60s.
They've probably been doing that shit way before that.
Well,
honestly.
I mean, that's a long time. I guess like it's not a conspiracy theory tinfoil hat shit. It's fucking facts, and people.
It is, and people
the
deny
only
them.
difference is that it's
People deny them all the time. Anytime you throw that in their face, oh, that's not true. Oh, you got a tinfoil hat on. No, dude.
You dumb motherfucker. This is real shit. Like, this has actually happened. Like, they've already done this. They've been doing this for fucking decades. Like, what makes now the exception to the rule? What makes whatever point you're trying to argue the exception? Like, they don't give a fuck about you. Like, they want to control you and censor the information that you're operating with so that you can ingest the lie.
It's because they only give a shit when it's not their corporate puppet that's sat in the White House. When it is, everything's fine. And well, that's just an excuse. But then when the shoe's on the other foot, because it's just tribalism instead of actual differing politics, oh, this is bad, oh, it's good. It's exactly the same as WikiLeaks. It changes depending on which way the fucking wind is blowing. No consistency whatsoever.
Oh, the consistency is always that the other guy is bad and your party is good.
Yeah.
And then when your party takes control, does the exact same things that you were saying the other party's bad, and then they switch every 4 years or 8 years. It's just the other party's saying the exact same fucking things. It always starts out the same way. It always ends the same way.
And it only adds to fucking 1984 and George Orwell with, we're at war with East Asia, no, we're at war with Eurasia. That never happened.
Exactly.
Fucking bullshit.
Exactly.
When it's all being orchestrated.
Of course it is.
I mean, it's...
And I guess that's what we're trying to tell people, is that censorship is not just deleting stuff, it's changing history. When they're taking parts of what actually happened out and manipulating it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, even things that are blatant, and even things that are like super controversial for me to say right now, but I'm gonna fucking say them anyway. Like the attack on Pearl Harbor, which was like 100% because the United States put sanctions on Japan, and Japan didn't fucking like that, you know. But like, they don't teach that shit in schools. I didn't learn that in school.
Yeah, it just happened.
I figured that out. Like, I figured that out years later after I took the talked about Pearl Harbor. You know.
Oh yeah. Japan attacked us for nothing. They're
Yeah,
just
they just
crazy
felt like it.
warlords.
They hate us for our
Exactly.
They're
freedom.
just
That's
crazy
exactly what it
warlords.
seemed like.
But that works into people's fear that if there wasn't a government, crazy warlords would take over.
Well,
Even though it's always the government that causes it in the fucking first place. But
yeah.
who is history written by? I think we all know the quote.
Winners.
Yeah, and that's
Of course.
something like, well, that's something that I've been struggling with people lately too. Is just basically like they have this idea beaten into their head that you can't trust people with freedom, but somehow or another you can trust people with power, and I don't understand it. They don't understand the disconnect. How you can't give
Because
the benefit of the doubt to be trusted.
people with power give them safety.
They say they
People
do.
without power can never give them safety. They would have to have safety for themselves.
Yeah.
And the fear of protecting yourself, you've been told so many times that you can't, that you think you can't protect yourself. Even though every day you're out there in the world doing what you do, you get by. But they tell them, oh, well, the reason no one's raping you, or the reason you haven't been raped yet is because of us. We understand there's lots of rapes. But there'd be a lot more without us.
Without us, it'd be
they
guaranteed.
Are we gonna find the people who committed those rapes? No, we're just gonna fill out a report. You'll be good.
haven't raped you because of us.
Yeah.
All these other people, you know.
It's the price you pay
I
for to
can't
not
tell
be
you why
raped
they
or
got
rape you.
raped.
We went from censorship to rape like that.
Yeah, what the fuck is going on?
Wow, unconsensual action. It all falls
I
under the
zoned
same
out for
umbrella,
10
doesn't it?
seconds, and this is a different podcast.
I think it's more than 10 seconds.
Debatable.
We know how much whiskey you've drank.
Time is subjective.
Okay, here we go. This is when it gets wild.
Let's talk about the subjectivity of time now.
Yeah, definitely.
How do we know that it's a constant flow? How do we know that it doesn't come in pulses like it does with a computer?
We don't.
We would never know, you know? It could be coming in pulses with a million of our years in between them. And as long as we weren't conscious of it, we would never know.
I could have shut him up by not saying anything, but I said we know.
Yeah,
true.
thanks for that. You encouraged him.
Sorry about that.
Never
It's
encourage
alright,
a
I
child while
appreciate
it's
it.
playing up.
I appreciate it, dude.
I have a little personal thing about censorship.
That's okay.
Oh, thanks for your permission.
All right, well then we're just gonna wrap this one up.
No, it's okay. I want to hear it. I just hate Ohio.
Oh, fuck
I
off.
know you
Not
do.
again, please.
I know you do. All right,
I guess.
I grew up in the Bush era.
Of where?
Barbara Bush censorship. Everything had to be censored. It was NWA had to be censored because you couldn't listen to that. Metal couldn't be. It had to be censored. You know, you couldn't listen to Ozzy. I think Marilyn Manson was a little bit past Bush. I think that was more the Clinton or whatever.
Marilyn Manson is fucking legit. Like, not necessarily his music, but the dude.
No, even his music is pretty
Yeah, he's
legit.
good.
I like it, but I understand that it's really fucking weird. So like,
I've
most
seen him
people
in concert a bunch of times. I go back and forth whether I like him or not, but I don't think the government should get on top of him for making music. Whatever he makes is his own business. And whatever people listen to, if you don't like it, the government shouldn't be involved with it. Barbara Bush, like I said, I think Manson was after the Barbara Bush era, if you're going to fact check this. But they shouldn't be telling you what you can and can't listen to. I remember being young and all of a sudden Walmart, and this might date me a little bit, Kmart would not sell explicit lyrics. Like all of a sudden you couldn't go to the store and buy a CD. At the time, I don't even know if CDs were big. They were more tapes. But you couldn't buy an NWA tape with swear words in it. What the fuck's that doing? Who's that helping?
That boggles my mind because obviously it all falls under the same umbrella as free speech. What is most music is just talking in rhythm, and that really I can't believe it's even debatable that some people think no, we must be able to tell you what you can and can't listen to for recreational purposes. The fact that it's even a question really pushes me beyond the edge of reason.
It makes me wonder with this podcast, like, are we missing something that's like super obvious to like the average
I know.
political thinker, but like we're just overlooking it because we're so deep into this. But like a lot of people honestly think that like you should not be able to listen to shit that you want to listen to based on like what.
Well,
kind
no,
of
they
content.
kind of like they use the whole
It's for the kids.
music thing and the swearing and the gangster rap into making people feel like if you listen to that, and it's still going on today with video games.
Yeah.
You know, if you listen to this or you let your kid play this violent video game, that your kid's going to turn out horrible. Well, you know what? I came up in the first generation of kids that played horrible video games like Mortal Kombat and stuff. And if you let your kid play Mortal Kombat, they're going to be out in the street killing people. And it's like totally the opposite. Like, I don't want to see blood. Like, if I'm out in the world and some guy gets his jugular cut, I'm half puking and running over and being like, dude, you need my t-shirt? Like,
hey, that motherfucker.
but I don't want to see it, dude. Like,
don't even waste a t-shirt. That guy's gone.
Yeah, fair point. We talk about the preview, though.
But yeah, so like I grew up like, and my mom, like I said, like, if the news told her something, oh, you can't have your kids listen to this music. Oh, these guys are horrible, or if they listen to this, they're going to commit suicide, or school shootings weren't a thing back then, but they say that now. Like, so that's kind of the world I grew up in, knowing it was fucked. Like, I listened to heavy metal, Ozzy Osbourne, Marilyn Manson. Eminem, you can't listen to Eminem. He's going to make you shoot up schools and commit suicide. None of that happened. I played violent video games. So it's all crap. The whole censorship is just someone wanting to tell you that they don't like that and you shouldn't listen to it.
And what is...
Or you shouldn't watch it.
So it's all... there's one word that fits into it rather nicely, and that's degeneracy. They're trying to prevent degeneracy, and what is that? The fucking buzzword of fascism. That's the. How can you explain it any quicker and more succinctly than that? If you're trying to control,
I agree.
It's not your business how a person acts if they're degenerate or not. Get over it. Your concern.
Yeah, censoring people's music, telling you can't listen. It's like book burning, and that's straight up fascism.
You are a fucking fascist.
Degeneracy is subjective.
And awesome.
I think degeneracy is pretty cool.
We should have BR in here. He's the most degenerate of all of us.
He is. He's a degenerate.
Well, I've been called a degenerate a couple times in my life, but somehow I live a good life. I'm raising a family. I work every day. I don't commit crimes. I don't hurt nobody.
No,
I go out of my way to advocate not to hurt people.
But no, hang on. There's a really important part. I have a different opinion to you, so you're a degenerate.
Degenerate.
Easy as that. We disagree on something.
I'm sorry. You know what?
You should be censored.
Ban my music.
You are
right.
Being from Ohio has hurt my feelings, and I think Ohio needs to be censored.
Or just banned.
Hey, hang on. When I used to be a fisherman back in the day, all the guys from Ohio used to come down to the Outer Banks, and we used to call them FIFOs. Do you know what FIFO stands for?
Not a clue.
No. Even if we do, our followers don't.
It stands for fucking idiot from Ohio.
Shut up. You say pop like I do. You're just as bad as me.
No, I call it Coke. It's all Coke.
It's all Coke? You call it Coke?
Fanta Coke?
I'm from Florida originally. So yeah, it's all Coke.
I'm going to go ahead and say that all Coke is only Coke.
But yeah, you're right next to Georgia. The home of Coca-Cola.
That's such a weird way of saying I'm from South Carolina.
Huh?
Well, then I'm weird, I guess. I don't know what to tell you.
Like, hang 'em. You're from like right up there by like. You say pop.
I say pop. You cut out there for a second. I'm right up there by what?
Illinois, right?
I'm closer to Canada than Illinois.
You're in Ohio, right?
Yes.
Yeah, have you ever seen a map of the U.S.?
What western borders Ohio? I thought it was Illinois.
It does. I'm
Well,
just
then what the
telling you
fuck?
what I'm closer to.
Okay.
All right.
I'm offended by you saying I'm right by Georgia instead of saying where I'm from.
You're right by Georgia. You're
I
good.
think you need to be censored.
Well, nah. See, the South's a little different. You guys go in big groups. Like,
How dare you? We all have very different barbecue sauce.
Oh my god.
oh,
Right. Could
oh,
we
and I
please-
love them. I love them.
please no?
Actually, I'm a Carolina barbecue sauce fan, dude. I like the vinegar.
Which, hold on,
There's
pause.
2 Carolina barbecue
Yeah,
sauces.
which Carolina
There's
barbecue
North Carolina
sauce?
barbecue sauce, and there's South Carolina barbecue
You
sauce.
you absolute
South Carolina
FIFO.
has mustard base, and
Did
North
you just
Carolina
conglomerate both Carolinas into one name and
I
say
don't
you
want
like
the.
their
I don't want the
sauce?
mustard base. I don't want the mustard base.
Okay, well then
All
guess
right,
what?
all right, good,
Guess what?
good.
You like South Carolina sauce.
No,
But yeah,
South
all right,
Carolina
cool.
sauce.
Yeah, good shit.
Cool guys, this isn't
No.
going in.
You're backwards. You're backwards.
Why not? Wait, well there's multiple kinds. There's ketchup based, mustard based, vinegar based. Some weird ones.
Vinegar base is North Carolina.
What is it?
Ketchup is
St.
popular in
Louis
South
only does the
Carolina.
dry rub, or is it St. Louis the ketchup base in
That's South Carolina.
Kansas?
Yes, South Carolina is ketchup based.
Or mustard. You guys do that mustard shit in South Carolina too.
I more often see ketchup than mustard.
Yeah. Well, you
Mustard.
traditionally have been mustard. Y'all are finally figuring out that.
I like the vinegar base.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's more like that's more
Yeah.
a little more north, like Virginia.
Perfect. That's the good shit.
They
I
actually
don't
call
know.
it dressing. They call it dressing in Virginia. They don't
That's
call
kind of
Oh,
fucked.
They call it dressing.
Anyway, Anglo, have fun editing this out. So,
Yeah, we'll do.
since you're editing this for time,
Right.
Too-
How do we get back
All
on
right.
censorship from that?
wait, no, what are we at? What
You
are
want
we
to
at
know
for time?
how I deal with censorship in my own life?
What are we at for time?
About 20 minutes to go.
20 minutes to go.
Unless you want to cut
Oh,
it a short one.
jeez.
We can make it
Oh,
shorter.
jeez.
No,
That's
we
a
need to
lot.
go. We need to go at least like 15 more minutes.
Okay.
So, hang on. Go ahead and say exactly what you just said again.
All right. In my own life, the way I deal with censorship is I don't. I don't believe in censorship. I don't censor.
Extremely insightful.
I don't censor my kids. I let my kids watch whatever I'm going to watch. When they're young, I don't let them watch stuff with like a lot of swearing and violence before they can
Porn?
understand what I'm talking about.
Porn?
The second they're old enough to know, I tell them, hey, this is bad, or you're not allowed to say that. Then censorship's out the window.
Yeah.
Especially with the internet now.
Penetration.
Give your kid a
off
cell
limits.
phone,
But and like
they're
all
going to see
prohibition-
everything in the world.
Like all prohibition,
What's that?
like all prohibition, it just won't work. If you tell them not to do it, kids are going to do it. Same with adults.
Yeah. Like, I told a kid not to do heroin once. Next thing I knew,
He was a
on the
junkie.
streets. On the streets, doing heroin.
Good for him.
Exactly.
All because you told him not to.
That's the ANCAP
Yeah, I
dream,
know.
isn't it?
I don't know about that one. But close enough.
But yeah, so far my kids, they don't watch weird stuff. Like if I ever check on what they're doing, like they're doing kid stuff, they're not trying to do adult stuff. We swear in front of them. I've never told them there's not a song they can't listen to or a movie, and they've grown up pretty adjusted. You know what? I grew up in censorship, and I drink a lot of beer and do a lot of drugs. my kids don't seem to do that, so weird how that works out.
Or they're just smarter than you. And you don't know
Yeah,
that they know
they're smart. I don't like to go around telling people they're smarter than me, but
I mean you're,
they are smart kids. Yeah,
You're-
we'll give them
you're-
that.
your oldest is 18, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that motherfucker getting high.
Now, she
Oh, she
is a total nerd.
Yeah. How's she look though?
Oh fuck.
Oh, wow. You wouldn't like her. She's got boobs
I'm just kidding.
Well.
I'm just kidding. Hey, Anglo, you're gonna have to edit that shit out.
and not a schlong.
You're gonna have to edit that shit out.
You can leave it.
Yeah,
No.
I think that's staying.
I can't stay in.
Oh, who am I to say? We can only wait and see.
I'm American.
We don't want to censor it, do we?
No,
Yes, we
exactly.
do.
Exactly. That would be censorship.
I'm
want to
not
censor it.
keeping in
If we
you lot talking about fucking barbecue sauce, but I'm keeping that in.
You
I
should
don't
keep
really-
you
we
should
don't
keep a
really
little bit of the barbecue sauce, and that's the podcast. People love that shit.
Yeah.
Well, no, that goes in the extras. Barbecue sauce is for the extra. We sell that for a couple of extra bucks too.
Yeah, make it like a Patreon
Yeah,
VIP
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, you know.
Not a bad
Oh
idea.
my god! All right, so did this get cut out then? But we didn't talk about the barbecue
You
sauce?
teased them on the last podcast with having some extras.
This is clearly getting cut
Like I
out.
said, it's an industry thing. You gave them the tease. Now we can start
Yeah.
selling them the extras.
Yeah,
you
Anglo,
know?
you said, like-
subscribe. Subscribe.
We also don't really censor a whole lot with our kids. Like, I mean, we don't.
Wait,
we don't,
hold on. This is podcast talk. Wait.
Wait, are we still doing the podcast?
Well,
Yeah,
we're
we
still
are.
doing the podcast, but we're cutting this out.
Oh well, what the fuck? I thought we
Now,
just
don't
started
listen to
the
him.
podcast.
Don't listen to him. He's drunk. You just talk.
He's not
No,
the
No,
one
I
that
had a
edits,
question for
so fuck
Anglo
off.
though. I had a question for Anglo that shouldn't be in the
Go on
podcast.
then,
Like you
go
said,
on, hurry up.
you said that you were gonna upload a video of like the bloopers from the last podcast.
Yeah.
Did you do it?
Nah. I
'Cause
will.
That'd be dope.
I'll do it.
Save them.
But low key, like a Patreon is a fucking good idea. Like exclusive content. That'd be dope.
Let's just make the podcast like 15 minutes long. Everything else you need to pay for. Brilliant.
Yeah, you get a 15-minute trailer. All right, I'm sorry, Gramps.
Jeez.
Sorry.
Listen to
Yeah,
that
I was just
disappointment.
kind of dittoing what Hangman was saying. You know, we don't censor a ton. You know, like with the kids, I swear like a sailor. My kids like know better. They know that like I'm an adult. They kind of make fun of me for it. If anything, I try my best to not, but not because I'm worried about sheltering them, just because they are old enough to know that I sound like an idiot when I can't articulate myself. But like censorship in the world is like it's there, you know. Like I think that's part of the reason that we homeschool is to kind of skip a lot of the stuff that you have to like traditionally relearn, and a lot of the stuff that like we learn as our, you know, like individually kind of had to unlearn. Like I think that's one motivating factor for us in homeschooling is like not have like, I guess, an uncensored version of education versus a wildly censored approved curriculum, and it seems to work pretty well for us. Like my kids are pretty well adjusted. They can talk to just about anybody for just about ever about anything, and you know they don't need to be censored. You know, they need to, you know, you need to have consideration, but people don't need to be censoring their lives and everything. They don't need to put a bubble around the world for kids. I don't think.
I think that's one of the biggest issues of public school, actually. So, like, kudos to you.
Thank you.
Because, I mean, there's no room for any kind of, like, organic kind of, like, growth and, like, self-reflection in public schools, because the censorship has really gone to the point of borderline 1984 levels, where, like, there's thought crimes, and if they're not thought crimes, they're thought you shouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, you probably shouldn't think those things. That's all public school is this huge, expensive failure of an indoctrination camp for young kids. And it teaches them how to censor themselves, basically. Like, the whole system's so efficient. Well fucking done, government. You really have a borderline bulletproof pipeline to indoctrinate your citizens.
Well, it only takes one generation, and then the rest just spirals out from there.
Yeah. So basically, Gramps, we employ you with the task of educating an entire generation,
Yep.
and then we'll be good.
Oof. All right. I think everybody needs to educate their own. That's kind of like why we do it. I always preach that, like, if you're not ready to do it, don't do it. And that's just my opinion. But, you know, like, if you're willing to let the state educate your children, you know, you really should prepare yourself for what that actually means.
Well,
And
the fact
like,
is that they're probably educated by the state, so they're more than happy for the same indoctrination.
yeah, I mean, the thing, maybe yes and no. I mean, I was a kid in the public school system, and here I am pushing back against this. So I guess one way or the other.
Yeah, well, definitely the exception.
Yeah, I guess, but I just think that people don't
Well,
think about it.
I came from the public school system. I'm against it.
Yep.
My kids are in it. Me and my wife didn't feel like we had the ability to do this home teaching, and we moved to what was supposed to be a good school district. My oldest is kind of indoctrinated. Like, she was an ROTC. She joined it. I give them freedom. I allow them to do what they want to do. She joined it. I don't censor her and tell her what she can or cannot do. She was in it. She had considered going to the military. She was strong into it. I just straight up told her how I felt. I don't believe in it. I'd like to show you some literature about it. There's a couple videos we can watch. I want to show you what happens. Luckily, I was able to talk her out of going to the military. And actually, she, after 3.5 years of doing ROTC, she dumped it halfway through her senior year. So I must have been doing something right.
Good job.
Still kind of indoctrinated. My 16-year-old is more like me. Like, just, she knows the system's fucked up. She's just trying to get through it. I talk to her about it sometimes. Like, hey, what's school? It's school. And I'm like, yeah, I know it sucks. I'm like, you just got a little bit more to go. We'll get you out of it. And she's happy to hear me say things like that. We know the system's fucked. They grew up with me, so they know my feelings on it. But like Bootlickers was talking about, like, now I'm fighting the system. It's always work. I'm constantly making sure, like, what do they tell you today in school? What, like,
Yeah, you got to re-educate.
We're just about jumping guns, but I can't really remember what was being talked about.
That sucks because I don't remember. Anybody else remember?
I think
I don't remember what my point was.
I was
So
handed a baby, so I wasn't really.
it's unprofessional.
How's the wife?
She's good.
She's good. It's good.
how when you say newborn?
8 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Since the
Oh,
eMilitia
damn.
existed,
Yeah.
Gramps sent us a picture of him taking a shit right after.
Yeah, that was a monumental one.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, you did.
In the hospital?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, shit was biblical.
Where my youngest was born, they had a bar right across the street from the hospital where if you showed up with your dad's fucking band on, they gave you a free drink.
Oh,
That's awesome.
that's really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And then my kid was born like late evening, so the wife and shit passed out. I'm like, I'm gonna dip out to the bar at like midnight or like 1 o'clock. So like the bar's packed, and then when people are like, "You just had a kid," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm getting my free drink, and I'm gonna go back." You can't leave. We gotta buy you a drink. I'm like, okay, all right. Well, they're all sleeping, so
Never came back.
no, I went back.
Been on the run ever since.
I was stumbling around and. No, I was on the run before the kids.
Shit. Okay, that's enough. You don't need to say anymore.
Say no more.
No self-incrimination.
All right.
So, okay, well, I'm gonna try to segue us a little. Okay.
You're the
recording?
king of Segway, so.
You recording?
Yep.
All right. Well, to be honest, guys, I think this is probably going to be one of the shorter podcasts. Because I mean, it's pretty like cut and dry. And it's a much more like consolidated topic, but it's a very important one, and I hope it wasn't too boring as being super structured. Because I know our last one was like really loose and it was conversation.
I wouldn't
This
say
one
this
was
was
a
super
lot more
structured. It was just,
informative.
I wouldn't say we were
concise.
structured at all.
Well, I mean, behind the scenes, we weren't structured, but
Oh, okay, sorry.
Thanks to the
We're
magic
back.
of
Oh,
editing.
we appeared as structured.
Yeah.
That's always good.
that's true.
Hey, let's sell it.
I
Let's
can't wait for
sell
our
it.
followers to try to decipher what the fuck we just meant by saying all that in the comments.
Leave it up to them. They can decide what happens between this. Between the
It don't
lines.
matter. They will say something.
I will say in the last podcast, Anglo, you did a great job editing. Like I could
Thanks.
not even find the cuts. It was literally seamless.
Ooh,
So
thank you. That's good to hear.
yeah, in case you, lovely followers, lovely audience, didn't know, we do in fact cut things out. So
Yeah, last episode a lot more than usual.
yep, completely my fault.
Yeah, I'm glad you said it.
Go
'Cause I
ahead
was
and
about to.
go ahead and leave a comment and assume what happened because
Yeah.
that would be hilarious.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'll be
I
our
don't know if y'all
tradition.
do. I don't know if y'all do, but I read every comment
Yeah,
that's posted on these podcasts.
I log into the actual channel, so I get all the notifications and shit, man. Yeah, keep that unlocked.
Ooh.
So does BR. He responds to loads of comments. Yeah, good shit. We really appreciate you guys watching. So more than happy to
Yeah,
talk.
it's dope. It makes it really fun. It's not just like it makes it much less laborious. Is that a word?
Laborious.
Laborious?
Yeah.
Sounds British to me.
It could be, but it's right.
I think there was a request for Anglo to say something on the last.
What was it?
I'm looking right now. Oh, it's a really basic one. Lawrence Pacheco. That was basic. You need to fucking step it up. He said Anglo needs to say taxation is extortion.
Taxation is extortion.
That was boring. See,
how do you want me to fucking say it, man? That's my voice.
No, it's not you. It's not you. It's a suggestion.
The request was boring.
The request was boring.
Oh, sorry. Well, you've ripped on me once before for being like, didn't say it enough.
Well, that's what I do.
Are we gonna make a segment in our podcast where we request an Englishman to speak in accent?
Well,
segment?
BR doesn't count because he sounds more Australian than British.
I think
I'll
we can
take that
sell it
crown.
for an extra 99 cents a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's open a Patreon. If you're a silver subscriber, I'll say whatever you want.
That's dope. Somebody just commented less than a day ago. He said, I didn't listen to this even though I kept seeing it on your guys' feeds because I thought it might be lame. But after binge listening to everything you had back to back, I just really want to hang out with you, get drunk, and just talk about dismantling the state and laughing about shit. Keep it up. Love it.
Awesome.
Run it.
That's
Let's
the only reason I do these podcasts.
That's awesome. That's
the only reason, because I'm like, dude, I can drink some beers, talk some liberty with some motherfuckers.
Yeah, hell
Good
yeah.
shit.
What's better than that?
I mean, it's not all just like for show. Like, I think we really enjoy each other's quote unquote company, I guess. Like, this is like virtual company, but like, I think we enjoy each other and it's fun to do, but it's really fun to like watch how y'all interact. So, I mean, I know I say it every time, but like, it's because it's fucking true every time. I'm not just pandering. Like, I really appreciate every kind of involvement y'all as the audience takes and this kind of stuff. It's really dope.
Yeah, big time. Doesn't
But yeah,
more than worth it.
Anyway, we'll come back at you soon with another podcast. I don't know what it's going to be on, or maybe I do, but I'm just not telling you yet.
We don't know. We do not know. I'm gonna dispel your illusion there. We don't know what we're fucking doing. In case that wasn't obvious.
Let's not censor the audience. We do not know.
I know. I just haven't told the rest of the eMilitia yet.
Okay, you think you're in charge?
I was gonna say.
I think I have a good suggestion. I hear a woman yelling.
Oh, that is so awesome.
What the fuck is going on?
I don't know. That didn't sound good.
No, it didn't sound good at all.
I don't know. That almost happened to me like 10 minutes ago.
No, it sounds like an emergency. Anglo out. It sounds like a family emergency.
Yeah, that's not going to go in.
But I'm nosy enough to want to know what the fuck is going on. So
It's a nosebleed. That's what my money's on. Or diarrhea. All right, okay, we'll call the podcast there. Then that's
All right.
that's going to
You
be our
guys get a
outro.
tail end of that? Did you guys
Yeah.
catch that?
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Oh, my wife flooded the laundry room. She forgot.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was
plug.
actually scared and worried
Yeah,
about
me
you and your.
too.
Yeah, no, everybody's good. Everybody's
Like,
good.
I didn't hear much. I only heard like it's really bad. Fuck.
Yeah.
I
I was
mean,
like, oh,
it's pretty
shit.
fucking bad, but it's okay. Nobody's hurt. Everybody's
I thought a
good.
kid was dying.
No,
me too.
oh, yeah, dude.
I
Kids are
thought
good.
I thought like an ambulance was imminent. Like, I was like,
My hands from the fucking 140-degree water pulling the plug out. Debatable. I'm gonna go. I'll catch you guys later.
All
all right,
right.
dude.
All right, you have a good night.
Glad we wrapped up.
Yeah.
Peace.
Good shit.
All right. How much usable shit do you think we have, English?